episode 45 of This and That and What a Fuck. And in this one, we will talk about the EU and some interesting news from India and, a few things from the US. And there's quite a disturbing what a fuck in this one. But let's go. Poland's ruling party is considering Germany a more dangerous enemy than Russia. The brains in Poland's ruling party all think that Russia is an easy enemy to deal with, while the West, specifically Germany, is a much more dangerous enemy. And I found this and I looked at it and I just couldn't believe what I'm reading. I don't get what is going on in Poland. On the one hand, they're doing all funny things with Ukraine, and on the other hand, they are brutally antagonistic towards Russia. Internally, there's issues there. I've read stories about, and I did a skidmark on it, how their indigenous forests are being mowed down. And I have picked up here and there that there is Polish people that are not very happy with Ukrainian immigrants, and there are citizens in Poland that are unhappy about the amount of money that the Polish government is giving to the Ukrainian immigrants. And then there is the energy thing that is totally devastating. And there's other stories, and I'll get to them in skidmarks. But Poland, I don't know what is going on there. But it seems, and now this, what do they want to gain by being this aggressive towards Germany? And these images are actually quite disturbing. France and Italy, the results of Europe's worst drought in 500 years. France's longest river, the Loire, and Italy's largest river, the Po, have all but dried up. This is disturbing to see, and if you look at it in contrast with what's going on in Pakistan today, this is really, but as one of the guys on Twitter has said, it is cycles. They have a drought. We have areas in South Africa where the drought, there was a 7-year drought. So wet cycles and dry cycles is part of nature, but this doesn't look good. And then this guy made this post, and it was a response to a serious report. Definitely the EU and the UK goes like sleepwalker to self-destruction. It is competing with the US. The US is doing everything to destroy the EU. Now, there's a lot of posts like this. There's a lot of news items like this. I cannot understand what is going on there. The UK has gone bananas, and I've got some skid marks where I'm going to handle more about the UK. The EU, I cannot understand that the EU citizens are just accepting the fact that their leadership is taking them to hell. And then there's this little bit, it was a comment. So it's not from an official news source or what, it's just a comment that a guy made. But there's a lot to think about. If you live in the West, you live in a fake world, ruled by fake rulers, aided by fake experts, and fake journalists spreading nothing but lies and fake news. Moreover, they tell you this every day, openly assuming you will not do anything about it. Now there's a lot of in there that we should really think about, because during the past few days I have become very disturbed about the lack of leadership in the West. And then there's this from India. India is building roads from recycled plastics waste. And I saw, that is a long video, and I saw how the garbage collectors is collecting the plastic. And there is some fancy machine, not a fancy machine, a basic machine that is chipping those plastics and grinding them up, and they're using it to build roads. I know here in South Africa, I think it was in Jeffreys Bay, there's a test piece that they did also with plastic. And then There's this, there are more than 21,000 miles of plastic roads in India. Now I think this is a brilliant idea, and although it really disturbs me deeply to say it, but apparently the World Economic Forum is behind this project. And then we get to the racism. Of course we can't have anything else. And now look at that image. Blaming her for slavery is like blaming her for Pearl Harbor. These racists that are stirring their racial pot, the racist remarks, and just playing on that racist string on the guitar is really becoming monotonous to me. I did a Skidmark in which I handled the point of it's not about race, it's about culture. And then more, African country bans white models from advertisements. Nigerian ads will have to rely solely on local models and voice-over artists in future. The African nation's government announced this week. All advertisements, advertising and marketing communication materials are to make use of only Nigerian models and voice-over artists. Yeah, it is racist. But then on the other hand, Nigeria is a black country. And then we get to the US. And this one could actually have been a what the fuck. Washington DC Mayor, Second National Guard migrant plea squashed by the Pentagon again. The Pentagon has brushed off Muriel Bowser's second request for National Guard troops to deal with the mass influx of migrants to the city, citing diminished readiness. Over 7,000 illegals have been bussed from Texas to the US Capitol recently, where Mayor Bowser has affirmed DC as a sanctuary city. She has slammed the busing move by Texas government Abbott, calling it politically motivated stunt. Abbott recently stated, "Before we began busing migrants to New York, it was just Texas and Arizona that bore the brunt. Now the rest of America can understand exactly what's going on." And look at that number, only 7,000. There's hundreds of thousands streaming into Texas. And Americans better wake up. And then there's this one. And I have spoken about this previously. And this is from Major General Albert Stubblebeen. "I saw a missile hitting the Pentagon, not a plane. All of the sensors were turned off that day. One apparently did not turn off, and it shows this object hit the Pentagon and it did not look like an airplane. At each floor, successive puffs of smoke are seen all the way down. Those puffs of smoke are due to controlled demolitions. The collapse of the Twin Towers were caused by a controlled demolition." Now, there's a lot of things about this. And I saw once an article, and it was just a news snippet, actually, in which, and it was in the form of a meme, where Putin was saying, "Should I tell them what I know about 9/11? Now, I've said it previously, with all this shit coming out, 9/11, the moon landing, I'm beginning to feel that my whole life was a lie. And then we've got this, which is quite disturbing. The Pentagon is very interested in the issue of Ukraine selling weapons from the US on the black market. A number of checks have been assigned. We have developed a universe of thousands of Ukraine-related contacts that come in under $2 million each." Now, for me, I am dumbstruck about the volume of weapons that has been poured into the Ukraine and the lack of control. But the West, Europe specifically, is going to suffer. I mentioned it in a previous Skidmark about I saw a post by an Arabian journalist in which he said that what is happening with the weapons in Ukraine going to the black market, the Europeans are going to experience the same thing that the Middle East has to deal with. Terrorists with sophisticated weapons among them. Well, how long is it before some convoy of politicians is hit by a javelin, or one of the airliners is taken down by one of those shoulder-launched missiles? This is not going to turn out well for Europe. And then we've got this one, and this is extremely disturbing, but it's a reflection of how American society has decayed morally. We have a serious problem in this country. A pride event in PA featured a stripper pole where they taught kids how to pole dance. This is sickening. This is sickening. And then there's this one. This is, to me, I was quite surprised. A few days ago there was a lot of news about the fact that the American government is going to employ thousands of IRS inspectors, and they are getting weapons training and all of that shit. And then you get this. In order to safeguard democracy, Congress has voted to exempt themselves and its members from upcoming IRS audits. How is that? How is that? That is autocratic and definitely not democratic. But the Americans, the public, apparently just takes it. And this next one is actually, could also have been a what the fuck. And this one I used in a Skidmark on the 4th of August. Taliban cast doubts on US al-Zawahiri death claims. And then today there is this. US al-Zawahiri killing claims, no body found, say Taliban. Doubts have been cast over claims al-Zawahiri was assassinated by US missile strike after the Taliban say they still have not been able to find evidence of a body, despite investigations continuing for weeks. The US claims to have struck the Al-Qaeda leader while he was standing on a balcony at his hideout in Kabul. Justice has been delivered and this terrorist leader is no more, President Biden claimed at the time of the attack. Now it seems to me it's bullshit. And then we get to the weapons. Timing of a US kamikaze drone delivery to Ukraine confirmed. A contract to supply 10 units to Ukraine, announced months ago, is expected within 30 days, Defense News reported. The delivery date of the Switchblade 600, a type of drone that has integrated explosive payloads and then crashes into the target, will be set after the contract is finalized. The US has already sent smaller, lighter Switchblade 300 drones to Ukraine in a number of weapons packages. They just keep on pouring the weapons in. And then there's this. Norway and the UK to send over $9 million worth of Black Hornet nano micro drones to Ukraine with pocket-sized UAVs small enough to fit in the palm of a hand, and each drone costing upwards of $40,000. What the fuck is that? The thing fits in your hand, but it's $40,000. It's the same with that GPS guided ammunition for the M777s. Those things are apparently $140,000 a shot. And then there's this. The US West disillusioned over absolute security in recent 6 months. The West has turned Ukraine into a weapons testing ground and a meat grinder to weaken the Russian Federation. Moreover, the US also wants to reproduce a similar action in other parts of the world, creating regional crisis in the name of peace, the Chinese state-run newspaper notes. And look at that image. It tells a story on its own. And more on the weapons. German Foreign Ministry Annalena Baerbock, there is an absolute shortage of own stocks in the German armed forces. Arms supplies to Ukraine are on a fine line, the German Foreign Ministry said. What the hell? This has been reported about many times. Zelensky is disarming NATO. And then we get this one, which is quite disturbing. The United States does not exclude the possibility of supplying fighter jets to Kiev, but the final decision on this matter has not yet been made. The Pentagon. Guys, and who the fuck is going to fly those planes? Americans. Check. And then this guy responded. If US jets are capable of changing the course of wars, why US was defeated in Vietnam and Afghanistan? This has nothing to do with winning, and they know it. Though Zelensky is naive, but this is about making more money. I dare them to supply the jets to Ukraine and see the consequences. And I would also like to see the consequences. And then this guy, he says, the United States and the UK need to be humbled. These two are the primary culprits for everything wrong in the world since 1990s. And yes, That is so true. Fucking warmongers, that is what they are. And then there is this from the WEF. I'm not going to read the whole thing. You can pause and read it. But this is the type of satanic shit they plan for us and for our children. WEF argues for microchipping kids. Human implant technology will soon become a commodity, a blog post published on the World Economic Forum's website last week suggests, arguing that there are solid rational reasons for microchipping children with location trackers. And fuck them and everybody in their bloody street and in that organization. And more from them. I breathe in oxygen, exhale carbon dioxide. So does he. Plants reverse the process at night. Does he take us for stupid, or does he just want us to stop breathing to suit a eugenics agenda? Guys, we better wake up. These guys of the WEF has done a major power grab, and all their puppets are in place. Basically all the Western governments is infested with WEF puppets. And I'm saying nothing is going to change before the guillotines are not rolled out. And then we get to this what a fuck. And this is a what a fuck that is disturbing, confusing, and actually crazy. My triple BEE affirmative action tip should finally allow the minority races in South Africa a fair chance to earn a living. Transracial. When you're born one race but identify as another. For fuck's sakes. And for those that are not from South Africa, that triple BEE is some shit that the South African government has implemented, and they have published about 180 laws, and all of that is aimed at prohibiting whites in South Africa to freely participate in the economy. And now it seems to me we can fix that shit by saying we are transracial. Fuck boys, this is a pot of shit if you ask me. In any case, hit the like, hit the subscribe. The channel needs your support. I need your support. And enjoy your day.